Right, mobile device or personal device. Just a bit of history. I can remember in the 70s when we first got our first telephone, and it was a party line. It was shared with the people the other side of the road. It cost a fortune. It was a handheld receiver with a dial. You had to dial each number in, and so on. Then the push button phones came, and then when I was at my last company, or second to last company, they had what they called a Storner phone in all the Jaguars, and it was a big cubicle, like whatever, electronics in the boot, and a wire leading to the front, and then a handset. Now I've got a big box full of the handsets stored at my house. Still, I didn't keep the I should have done. I should have kept the boxes, but they were just too heavy. Basically, they were ridiculously heavy. So that was the first mobile. That worked around London, where our head office was, and I think on the M1 as well. And then gradually, before I joined Argus, I was working for a company in the city, selling fax machines and photocopiers and telephones. We just started selling the big Motorola, almost like an American army walkie-talkie with a big aerial. And I used to see people walking about with them, huge things. They were roughly £2,000 without the contract. So that's when it all first started. That was in the City of London, well, Borough High Street, just across the bridge. So yeah, I worked there for a while. Didn't do very well. Came back out of there. Got a job in electronics building IBM motherboards, which I enjoyed. But one of my lodgers said to me, "Oh, quick! I need a chauffeur. And I'd been a chauffeur in Corfu to a shipping tycoon. So I said, yeah, well, I'll do it for a few weeks, only 3 weeks. But I was there 19 years later. I was still there. But anyway, yeah, and we went through lots of different phones. I remember sitting in London one day waiting for a director, and I saw an O2 shop, or it wasn't O2 in those days, it's something else. 1-to-1 or something. Anyway, I went in there, I said, how much is a phone? They said, oh, £125. I was like, yes, thank you very much. So I got one, and it used to ring people up. We used to turn up outside people's houses, ring them, and say, oh, I'm in another country somewhere, and then knock on the door, and they say, oh, wait a minute, somebody at the door, and they'd open the door and it'd be me. So some of the tricks we used to play with our mobiles was great in the old days. Can't do it now, it's too obvious. But yeah, I was one of the first people in the office to have my own phone. And then they realised that they could get me any time they wanted, so I was the one that got rung all the time if there was an emergency. So I said to the boss, look, they're so cheap now, why don't you get some for the other boys? So we all got a free phone. So I dumped mine. I've still got it. Still got all my mobile phones from right back. And so that's how that started. Now, obviously, when I saw this UFO, I had no idea that the things we're going to be able to do now, I had no idea about that. I had a mobile in the car, but it didn't work where I was, so I just left it off. And but that started, that was doing a few other odd things, like having a whole address book in there. That was amazing, having all your numbers stored, hundreds of them. That was great, but really did nothing else except ring people, and I think there was a game on it, which was rubbish. And then obviously, now look at them. We wouldn't be without them. They've got everything on them. We can watch TV, we can have a whole library of music on it. We can listen to music, play games, talk to people anywhere in the world, get them on social media anywhere, all those things. Now, I didn't know anything about that, but in case you're thinking, oh, it's okay for him to say that because he's talking now and he knows what mobile phones do. Right, well, I'm going to tell you what they're going to do in the future. Okay, I'll start that now. For a start, I've shown lots of different beings. Some have still got a device they hold and they put in their pocket. Others, then there's every variation, and the other end of the scale, one of them is on the skin, like a big screen on the skin. This is a being with arms, I hasten to add, and in what is their hearing area, which has gone down because the hearing is actually implanted inside. It's not biological, it's mechanical, but any sound coming in, not only does it make sure that your ears aren't damaged, so you can never get damaged ears, but it connects to your sticker on your arm, or the inbuilt bit in your arm. Some were stickers, some were inbuilt, and you could see everything and hear everything, and microphone built in here, like the army microphones are throat mics, almost the same but built in. They are powered by the heat of the person's or the being's body, so there's never any need for any well, at least that's how I assessed it. Could be completely wrong, I don't know. But anyway, on each device, your mum and dad, I'll take the, I was always given the best scenario for our planet here. And what happened was, you just had your baby delivered. The door was locked on this planet, so that nobody could get in or out. So you could have your relatives in there, the mum and dad. There's always a biological mum and dad, by the way. Hardly ever hermaphrodites, although I think they do exist. But they, I don't know about that. I only knew people in a room, basically. Baby's born, bit of DNA is taken, a big long number's generated. Ours will be probably 3 miles long from our body. That number is entered into a new device which is unpacked on the spot, and then that is the baby is the only person apart from the mum and dad that's registered to the baby, but the mum and dad can operate that for 18 years. Say in this country it'd be 18 years, while the offspring grows up. And on that will go everything on the first day: blood type, any ailments, anything, and all your inoculations if there's any. Like here, for instance, the red book, that will all be on the mobile. Everything goes on the mobile. All the work off the screens. There's no school as such. School was a good idea 100 years ago, but now is not a good idea, basically. So yeah, any work the kid does, any exams they pass, possessions they get, because generally, because there's no money, toys and game time and all that kind of thing are earned off of the screen, off of the mobile. So they do all their schoolwork. If they do something in the day, if they suddenly think, oh, I want another toy, they can go as fast as they like with the schoolwork. And say for instance they get a Lego set. We all know Lego, don't we, I hope, around the world. That goes on the mobile, as yes, they've got their Lego set now, so they can now move on to the next part of the course. Or they've got an hour's game time or 2 hours game time or whatever. Also on the mobile, now, at the moment, our mobiles, this is another thing that's going to come up. Our mobiles, all the information is on a server somewhere. If you do add your music to a cloud, now, I was told about clouds, but I thought it was a magnetic cloud that they'd floated in the air and they were adding data to it, and I thought, oh, well, good idea. I didn't realise it was a server somewhere. So they do not have any servers. The server is the processing power of every single mobile on the planet. So you've got the processing power of that, and a percentage, which can change, of the memory is basically the memory for the processing power, and anything else. Like for instance, if you take a picture, you've got it on your mobile, so you can get it back anytime you like. You can send it to people, do whatever you want. But a copy of it is distributed in bits all over the world. Maybe 10 different copies. So that if you're hit by something, or there's a fire or a flood, you can always piece the picture together from all around the world and it stays there. So it doesn't matter if half the globe is destroyed, your picture will be pieced back together again. You obviously have your copy, but you know. So if you drop your mobile in the sea or something and get a new one, the cloud, or rather the memory on everyone else's mobiles, will fill your mobile up again. Now remember, you might be thinking, oh, I don't want my information given to everybody, you know, but there isn't anybody to take it. You know, money's gone, so they don't want your money. They can't take your house. There's no mortgages as such. You own your own building, and incidentally, the building's there. You think, oh, I want to move. You get on the mobile. Next hour, yeah, you can go to where you want to go. Flat number 3, 26 Park Avenue or whatever, underground. Go. Because there'll be so much to do, or there is so much to do on these planets, you'll only use your abode as a bed. There'll be hardly, and maybe a sit down for a quiet sit down. You know, most of the time you'll be up doing things, because there is no employment, basically. If you want employment, it's there. You just got to select a job on your mobile. If you're not qualified to be a plumber, but you want to do a plumbing job, you do the course. Simple. There's no rush. You just do the course. You get plumbing jobs suddenly appear on your mobile from other people. You go and do their job. They take pictures of it, or it gets uploaded, the job you've done. They rate it. Plumbers who can't no longer do plumbing and are retired and sitting at home, they are judging it too, and then they'll allocate you your time at your centre of excellence. So that's how that works. That's all done on the mobile. So that's it. But so you know what types of mobile. You know, there's ones that stick to your arm. There's some have still got the flat with a big screen. You know, you can have what you like basically, but it's always given to you at the point of your birth and stays with you until you damage it or something. Then you get another one that gets filled up from the cloud, which is the whole planet's mobile's memories. And when you're not using your mobile, that then becomes the world computing system, which even if half the planet is wiped out in a massive explosion or flood or something, the other half just keep running like there's no. It might go a bit slower because you've not got the same processing power, but you know. So that's how it works. The less people, the less programming power you need. So it's all relative. So that's your personal device basically, and what it's going to do in the future. The only sort of options I can think of that I'm not sure whether we've got to or not, but the screens will be the resolution of your retina. So, and they're all built in a 3D printer from the ground up, one atom at a time again. Obviously serial, and obviously probably more than, you know, like a matrix. So the whole matrix is firing atoms. So it's not going to be bang one atom, bang two atoms, bang three. It's serial, but it won't place another atom till it knows the other one's in exactly the right position. So you get a crystalline structure, absolute high strength through the whole system. And obviously there's no money, so there's no limit on materials you can use. If you want to use gold, you can use gold, although gold will be mainly used for electronics, you know, anything electronic. But the light computers are coming. That's where at an atomic level you've got a light sender and a light pickup at an atomic level, built single atoms at a time, but then layers. So you can imagine the photon, one photon is sent across, is a 1, no photon sent across in a fixed time, which is nanoseconds, picoseconds, is a 0. That's how they're going to work in the future. So yeah, that's pretty much it for personal devices. Like I said, it's built into your arm. When you walk into your abode, the screen comes on with what you've said. For it to come on, what you've decided comes up on the screen. So it might be a nice picture. If you go to your work, for instance, or I can't imagine there being any office jobs, but if you were to go in this kind of world to your office, then you would get all your pictures on your wall would all come up with what you've decided on here. There won't be any pictures, they're all screens basically. And or if you've got pictures all round, like when I get to the abode section you'll know. Hang on a sec. I heard something. No, don't know. But yeah. So that's about it, I think, for that, for mobiles. Like I say, I've been through every type of telephone, near enough. And obviously we've got iPhones and Androids in the family and things like that now, and they all do some amazing stuff. One of our military mobiles even does thermal imaging. It's even got a thermal imaging camera on it, which is just amazing. And some of the other things it can do, it's about £2,000 though. So yeah, but nothing like what these do. I mean, like I say, the processing power and the world memory are the two things coming up, and high speed, retina resolution screens. You can't get better than that because our eyes aren't good enough. And I think after that it's things like synthesized 3D and stuff like that, so on the mobile. But like I say, we're still at quite a rudiment, although they're quite advanced now, we're still at a rudimentary stage with mobiles. But like I say, having everything on the mobile, you might think, oh my god. The other thing is, if you decide you want to go to a centre of excellence and you don't want to be bothered, switch it off. Once you switch it off, nobody gets access to any of your information. Not that they can anyway, because there's nothing to pinch, which is the main thing. You can't be ripped off. You know, even if you have a robbery, you tell the mobile what's gone, and if that appears anywhere else, people are going to know instantly. You know, that'll go on a system, and you can say, "Oh yes, that's mine." You know, there won't be any robbery or anything. So, you know, unfortunately for the thieves and the robbers with no money, and the drug people, there's going to be no chance. You know, they'll just have to fit in like everybody else or die, basically. But they get their free accommodation, their free food, their free transport, and their free mobile, and their free entertainment. So why go pinching? You've got it all. You know, there'll still be somebody, but they'll be really easy to catch. So yeah, personal device. Like I said, I saw lots of different styles. Some were minute, some were you know, stick on, some were built in to people, all sorts of things. Anyway, I think that is probably, what, 20 minutes? Is that enough of mobiles? I don't know. I can't think of anything else because they're so simple. There just is nothing more to say about those, really. So that's it. Right, thanks a lot.